Hi guys, George here, and I'm going to bring to you another AAR with respect to ASL scenario 128, the defense of Luga. And that's my phone just gone off. There you go. So hopefully what I'd like to do is to break this AAR down into three parts of about 15 minutes each. The first uh, part will be with respect to the setup and deployment. Um, the part two will be notable engagements and firefights, and part three will be the conclusion, lessons learned, and what we can do better. Now, if we go over the scenario, um, this is the basically the vassal starter file that I created. Nothing fancy. I did not use Neil Uden's table, unfortunately. I am using it now, though. But let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So, this actual battle took place south of Leningrad, and it's basically what was going on throughout the initial part of Operation Barbarossa, which was the panzers would advance, leaving behind the infantry to secure the lines of communications for the panzers. So basically, the German tanks would advance at high speed, and it was up to the German infantry that was mostly equipped with horses at that time to make sure that the Soviets would not break out and also wreak havoc on the lines of communications of the German armored forces. So basically, if you look at the OB, the Russians in this scenario have quite a lot of conscripts, about, in this case, uh, 12 conscripts and 24 regular troops and a few assault engineers. Um, Now, why is that important? As we all know, conscripts cannot advance at the same pace as regular units. So basically, what I would say here is that you should leave the conscripts to do just mopping up operations. Use your regular units to advance as much as possible. These assault engineers, they're best uh, if you wish to go the route of attacking this village here, they're best to be used in close combat. Also, you end up getting a variety of tanks. Some tankettes, I believe they're T-28s. I would use these as well as I believe they're T-40s. I would use these as reconnaissance vehicles. Now, basically, you do need to understand that um, there is platoon movement in this game. So what does that mean? Is that one tank really has to follow the other. Now, in the classic game, and this is probably the last time I'm going to make a reference to the classic game, which is, according to my opinion, filled with shenanigans. Right, on to the heart of the matter. They have to follow each other. And then, if for any reason the platoon breaks up, the other tanks need to pass a task check in order to continue advancing. Great, so use these for reconnaissance. Here, the uh, other tanks, I would say light to medium size tanks, are great for um, blowing things up, I suppose, blowing up known targets. Um, hmm. Now, the T-34 here is exempt from platoon movement, which is great as well. It's not confined to um, moving and following behind another tank. All right. Um, the Germans, on the other hand, are equipped with great AT guns. So you have H6 here. You have a 37L with H6 at range 9, which has a high 2-kill number. Um, the 50L does have APCR, and I'm not too sure what the 75 in hypothesis means, in parenthesis means. And here you do have weapons with a high rate of fire. Uh, yeah, okay, we can use the IFT table with 8 firepower factors and reduce the rate of fire to 2. But again, here's the special H5.9 in parentheses 9 ammunition that can prove very deadly against tanks. And again, the uh, AT gun, sorry, the AA gun here with an IFT value of 6. And everything else, light machine guns, 2 heavies, which pack a good punch, and 2 mediums. That can also, the MMGs and the HMGs can also be used as anti-tank weapons. Great. Um, Alright, so with that said, let's take a look, try and take a look at the German setup. Okay, we'll go here and try to load a log. No. Oops. Hey, come back. So let's take a look at the setup. Um, I would like to note that I played against my esteemed opponent, Mark Dennehy. I believe he played a great game. However, the lack factor was not on his side, unfortunately. Other than that, it was my distinct honor and pleasure to play against Mark. Um, we, like every other game, we learn a lot from each other and from rule diving. And as you could see here, as the Russian player, he chose to attack a large front. Now, if you take a look at the German setup, let's see if we can minimize it. Oop, that's a bit too small. Let's increase it just a little bit there. Well, here's the Russian player attacking on a large front, but keep in mind that the German player is completely hip. As you can see, the city hexes here in the back are completely undefended, save two guns here. So basically, if the Russian player had chosen to concentrate all his forces here, go right across the board and attack with a left hook around the back, the German player would have been, this goose would have been cooked. Now, um, the Russian player, in order to win, needs to control 16 or more stone buildings. So I think for the most part, he would have the majority here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 German buildings completely undefended. And how did the German player defend them, and why did I choose this setup? Let's take a look. Let's start with board 4. Let's zoom in on board 4. Okay. Let's see if we can, oh yes, go there, go here, and zoom in on board 4. Board 4, please. There you go. Okay. Now, board 4, should the Russian player decide to advance here, we have here a 8-1 leader, medium machine gun, and a squad with clear LOS all the way down more or less this line here. We have AT gun in open ground behind this wood hex that can basically ambush tanks coming in this direction and this direction. We have another medium machine gun, so 2 mediums, but this fellow here is not leader directed, so he can cower, but still he can cover quite a bit of ground. Then here we have another fire group. I can basically cover this area, and it's basically just a squad and LMG, but the squad can fire the LMG and its inherent firepower into two different directions. So any squad approaching with, sorry, took a sip of red rose tea there. Any squad approaching with non-assault movement around this open ground and here would be subject to um, the -2 modifiers for first fire, non-assault movement, and first fire moving in the open. Uh, Here we have another little fire group with a squad and an LMG and an 8-1 leader that can fire here in this direction, or he can wait, stay concealed and wait to ambush anybody advancing on this fire group. So there's a bit of interlocking fire here. Plus, you have a nice AT gun here, 50L. Okay, but his main role is really to protect this area. This area should the Russians miss him, but also ambush this hex here. So we can do an LOS check, and since we are the defenders, we could. Oops. Well, right there. Boom. He goes through the shell holes. The moment you have a reference, you can even bore sight, I believe, this hex, and there it is. Now on to board 4. This building was left defenseless. Why? Because this is an obvious place to set up. And with so much Russian firepower, look at that huge wave of Russian infantry and tanks, right? The Russian player will assume that you have set up somebody there on the second level. So this would probably be his first target of opportunity. And oops, let's go back to board 3 now. Let's go to board 3. What do we got in board 3? Well, we got something similar to what we have here. So, tank decides to go through this road. You declare street fighting and engage them in close combat, right? Same thing here. You try to put some squads, and the mistake I did here was I did not deploy. I should have deployed. You deploy a couple of half squads. They declare street fighting if the tank goes here, right? And you give something to the Russian player to think about. Here we got a -2 leader and a 467. 1-to-1 with a -2 modifier for close combat. Again, the Russian player has something to think about. Over here, we have another squad. If one attack doesn't succeed, the other will. And here, there is another opportunity to do some close combat with the tanks. And again, some over here. Now, to the city board. Hold on. Here's the city board. We have an AT gun ready to ambush in this direction. Here, we forgot to mention that there is an AA gun, right? That's basically here to protect this flank and this flank, and any infantry advancing down this road. It takes a lot of courage to unhip everybody and start firing. It's not funny. And up on the city board, we have some big guns with 2 9-1 leaders that can combine their leadership modifiers, and with the HMGs and a rate of fire of 3. Let's zoom out here. Units attempting to attack from here or down this direction have, again, something to worry about. This leader is just protecting the flank here, right? And he was very effective at doing that. This AT gun, I thought mistakenly that I had LOS from here to there. It turns out that there was a building somewhere in the way. And this lonely AT gun is just here in case this attack was not effective, and he pops up by surprise and kind of is protecting these two areas here. So that was basically it. Could have I done things better? Yes, I could. Um, but that will probably be the topic of another video. I think it will be safe to say that uh, part one of this video we can conclude in terms of what the setup was like. Um, I think what I need to do is now think about the important engagements that took place and highlight those, and then provide you the conclusion and afterthoughts in part three. So again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to doing part two and part three in the near future. As it is now, I'm playing quite a bit and quite busy with a lot of personal challenges, I would say. But I'm looking forward to the next video on the defense of Luga, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Take care, guys.